Well, gas up the DeLorean because we're going back in time. Let's talk about plant evolution. What's up, fellow plant enthusiasts? My name is Dylan Bain, and this is Bain's Botanicals. Today, we're going to be talking about plant evolution. Now, you may be asking yourself, what does plant evolution have to do with houseplants? Well, this is kind of their origin story. And the fact that our plants are descendants of plants that survived several mass extinctions is nothing short of a miracle. So it's pretty cool. If we remember back to the plant taxonomy video, we know that Kingdom Plantae is divided into 10 phyla. These phyla can sometimes informally be grouped based on their evolution and how old they are. So the earlier plants are grouped together and the later plants are grouped together. So we're gonna run through these and kind of talk about things that were happening on Earth as these things developed. So the first group is the seedless non-vascular plants. They don't make seeds and they don't have vascular tissue. And vascular tissue is basically things that can transport water and nutrients. So we have like veins and arteries, and most modern plants have xylem and phloem to transport water and nutrients, but these plants, they don't have that. They absorbed water and nutrients through diffusion and osmosis. So via rainwater and air and things like that. They don't have roots to absorb things through the soil. They're very small, diminutive, kind of sitting on top. And they can't get big because they don't have the ability to. We're talking about 450 million years ago, and this is really when life first started to come onto land. Because before this, all of life was still in the ocean. But this was a big step. And they don't know how that happened, which is interesting. I think it's intriguing that there is no fossil that says, oh, this is the first land plant, this is the one. So the fact that it's kind of a mystery, I think is neat. But what else do I have about these guys? Okay, so in this group, we have 3 of our 10 phyla. We have Marcantiophyta, which are liverworts. We have Anthoceratophyta, which are the hornworts. And then we have Bryophyta, which are the true mosses. Now this is the one you've probably had the most interaction with because we can walk out in the woods and see, the plush velvet green on the ground of some moss, or in a terrarium, a lot of people will put moss as kind of a coating on the bottom, which is pretty neat. Moss is very appealing looking. There are about 24,000 species of these guys, which is kind of crazy considering there's not, they're so old and so rudimentary. It's kind of crazy to think that there's that many species. Moving on, we're going into the seedless vascular plants. So we still can't make seeds, but now we have vascular tissue. So think about a fern that's in this group. Ferns can get bigger. They can have more leaves and more fronds because they have the ability to transport these nutrients across long distances, and they have roots to absorb things out of the soil. And also with having more leaves, you have more photosynthesis. You can make more food. There are about 12,000 species in 2 phyla, and the 2 phyla are Lycopodiophyta, which are the spike mosses and the club mosses, and you have Pteridophyta, which is horsetails, whisk ferns, and the true ferns. So all of our houseplant ferns fall into like the true ferns. What else about these guys? This was about 400 million years ago when these first developed, and at this point during Earth's history, we're looking at like fungi have made it to land now, animals are on land, but it's mostly like invertebrates, like the ancient scorpions and millipedes and things. But then shortly after the ferns develop, that's when we get like amphibians, something that can live part of its life in water, part of its life on land, and later on reptiles. But the neat thing about, I know this isn't about plants, but the neat thing about the insects during this time is that they were huge. Like there was a dragonfly that had, I think, like a 2.5 foot wingspan. Can you imagine? Like that would be so cool. Unless it could bite, then it wouldn't be as cool. That'd be scary. But yeah. The next group is called the gymnosperms. Gymnos meaning naked, and sperma meaning seed. Those are Greek words. There are only about 830 species, which doesn't seem like a lot, but they've still been pretty successful. And there are 4 of our 10 phyla within this group. Needophyta, which is like the pines and the conifers and the junipers and things like that. Cycadophyta, which are the cycads. As far as houseplants go, the sago palm, which is not a palm, that is a cycad. It's a very old plant that would have been around during like the dinosaurs and everything else. And then we have Needophyta, which are a bizarre group of plants. Google what some Needophytes look like because they're really weird. There's one that kind of looks like an air plant, but it's like somebody bred an air plant and seaweed and dropped it in the desert and then somehow it started growing. Like they're really weird looking. And then the 4th one is the Ginkgophyta, which only has 1 species in it. Like it is the Ginkgo biloba, the tree that has the fan-shaped leaves. Ginkgos are so cool just because they have a really neat story. All of the other species of ginkgo have gone extinct, but this one managed to survive through human cultivation, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I'll probably do a video on those. That's like my favorite tree. And that's why when you look at the leaves, those fan-shaped leaves are unique. Like no other tree has that because they call them a living fossil because any other tree that has that is a fossil. What else about these guys? This was about 300 million years ago during the Permian period, and something happens at the end of the Permian period called the Great Dying. It was a mass extinction in which about 90%, they think about 90% of all life on Earth went extinct. They don't really know why. There's some theories, but this is a big deal because when you have a mass extinction like this, it opens up the door for the things that survive to flourish. So while there were a lot of losses, for example, with amphibians, it opened the door for reptiles to flourish. And this next period of time is when dinosaurs come about. What else about gymnosperms? That might actually be it. The other thing that kind of happens, the other thing that happens right after the Great Dying is if you guys have ever heard of the supercontinent Pangea. I mean, you've probably seen this in an old biology book, how all of Earth's continents used to be one big continent. And of course, you can see that they're kind of shaped like they would fit together. This begins to split up during this period called the Triassic period, which precedes the Jurassic. And when you have land masses that are drifting apart and the environments on these land masses start to change, that's when you get a lot more diversity because you don't have everything in one place growing the same way anymore. So we have the Triassic, we move into the Jurassic, like Jurassic Park, and then after that is the Cretaceous period, and this is where the last group of plants evolves, the angiosperms. And the angiosperms are the most successful group. They only have 1 phylum, the Magnoliophyta, which we've referred to several times. There are about 260,000 species in this group. And that's, I don't know the exact percent, but it's like 90% of all plants are flowering plants and the other 10% are everything else. That's pretty intense. I mean, that's how successful that they've been, because producing a flower that is custom designed for insects and birds and things to pollinate it is such a quick way to spread. Or wind pollination, things that can just, a breeze blows and blows your seeds all over the place like a dandelion. That's really efficient. Those came into being about 130 million years ago. And again, they're not really sure how that started to happen. How do you go from a pine tree, for instance, starting to make flowers? Like, they're missing a link someplace, so they don't fully know how that happened. Of course, at the end of the Cretaceous period, something awful happens. An asteroid hits the Earth, wipes out the dinosaurs like 65 million years ago. And it wasn't just the dinosaurs, it was probably about, the number I've read recently was 70 to 75% of all life on Earth. So yeah, that opened up a lot of holes. And in the plant kingdom, of course, it opened up a lot of holes for these angiosperms to really flourish and thrive. As far as animals go, with the big reptiles out of the way, what's next? Mammals, us. So I think that's it. I think that is plant evolution in a nutshell. Now, since the Cretaceous period, the past 65 million years, like I said, angiosperms have dominated, but of course, all of the other species have continued to develop and kind of evolve as well. And and now we're living in a time when we have the ability to kind of, there go my grow lights, it's 7 o'clock. We have the ability to kind of create different hybrids and things. So that's kind of interesting that we're able to kind of step in and kind of not expedite evolution necessarily, but really kind of, I don't know, who knows what things could look like in a million years because of things like that. All right, that was a lot. That was a lot for one video. I mean, it's only been about 12 minutes, but like that was a lot. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Like I said, it's really interesting just to kind of see how we go from like mosses and how they can't really get big and they don't have the vascular tissue, and then we go to ferns and they can get kind of bushy and bigger, and then you go into gymnosperms, which can get really big and tall, and then the angiosperms that develop these beautiful flowers and have all of these amazing ways of reproduction. It's neat that it evolved that way. And like I said, these plants survived mass extinctions where dozens, hundreds, thousands of other species died out. So yeah, it's pretty special that we have what we have. I think that's it. Like I said, I know this was a lot, but I've been wanting to do this video for a little bit. I'm trying to think of what I'm gonna do next. I don't know. It's gonna be something good though, I promise. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you for commenting and liking the videos and subscribing. You guys are an amazing audience. I love interacting with you guys, and I'm excited to see what you guys have to say about this. Hopefully everybody learned something. I've been sitting here brushing up on all of my old biology. Like I have an old biology textbook here, not too old, like within the last 5 or so years, but yeah, it's been fun kind of studying again so that I can present this to you guys. But yes, I'll get some more videos out really soon. Thank you guys so much, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you.